What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today the House of Representatives did pass a bill for the government funding stopgap bill. That's some good news. I want to provide you with an update on the stimulus package. We need to talk about the budget, what the CDC is saying, and much more. So first off, thank you guys for watching today's video. If you have any questions whatsoever, or you really want to know what's going on with a specific piece of the government or just finances in general, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Now, let's get into the update. Because today, the House of Representatives, they passed the government funding stopgap bill with the final vote of 272 to 162. Now, this bill is going to provide funding for the U.S. government to continue running until March 11th. So a little bit over 1 month. Now, currently lawmakers believe that they're only 2 to 3 weeks away from securing a deal on a greater omnibus bill that would fund the federal government through fiscal year 2022. But by passing a stopgap bill, this means that the federal government will continue to operate under the budget that was set back in 2020 under the Trump administration. And that's what many people are saying is the problem is that we are using an old budget to continue to run the government, and it's just not working. We're not seeing any growth. Now, President Biden, he is really pushing to get this done, but others are pushing President Biden to demand more, to put more of his agenda into this bill. But here's what we know. According to the president of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, Maya McGinnis, she says that Congress's budget is clearly broken. And she says, and I quote, "With inflation at a 40-year high, we shouldn't be increasing discretionary spending by $125 billion. This budget, the omnibus bill that's being pretty much, I don't even want to say negotiated. It's being discussed, I guess, at this point. But it is at $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion. She is saying this is not the time to increase discretionary spending. But we're going to see. This is also why Republicans, according to multiple reports, are not in favor of the budget that Democrats are putting in front of them. And according to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, lawmakers will have a full appropriations bill by March 11th. And Democrats have no intention of passing another continuing resolution for the remainder of the year. So his idea is let's get an additional few weeks so we can negotiate. Then we will pass the full appropriations bill before March 11th, and they'll be good to go till the end of this year, till the end of September. That's when the fiscal year ends. Now, according to a couple Senate aides, they are saying this is actually very good news because we have movement on the bill. However, they do worry that this is moving all the other priorities back even further. Now, for those of you that have been following me here on this channel for the past, I'd say about a month or two, then you know I've talked about President Biden's plans to ask Congress for more money to help fight the pandemic and even further fight any additional COVID variants as well. Well, here's what I can tell you. Lawmakers have stated that the problem with all these delays, and again, we've seen delays for years, but the delays that are happening right now, this is pushing everything back. Now, Democrats have said that in the past, that if a COVID relief bill isn't passed by this spring, it likely will not pass. Well, we've heard from the committees that they're going to run out of money sometime in the middle of the summer. So they want to get something done by spring. But here's the issue. Currently, we're going into spring with still negotiating the government funding bill. We know COVID cases, even though deaths are coming up, COVID cases are coming down, which is good. The deaths normally lag about 2 to 3 weeks. But with Congress trying to address the government funding bill, then they're going to address the election reform bill. Then progressives are still pushing for the Build Back Better Act. And then we still have to deal with this COVID relief bill to address any possible additional variants that we see in the future. This is why multiple Senate aides believe that these delays are actually only going to cause more disagreements within the Senate. So, what I know at this point is right now, it doesn't matter the Republicans or the Democrats, the Senate or the House, everything's in disarray. People are trying to figure out, what can they get support on? And during a midterm election year, that makes it even more, a little bit more scary, because right now some want to pass all this additional help, all additional relief. That's great. The problem is, can they do it during an election year? Some are saying that no, they should wait until 2023 because they don't want to ruin anything with their voters. But at the same time, we have to look after the people in the country as a whole. And I don't think many people are doing that. Now, at this time, what we are seeing all over the news is governors across the country are looking to get a mask mandate pretty much shift. They're letting mask mandates expire. I addressed this the other day, how I think like Connecticut, New Jersey, New York will probably follow, California, Oregon. Many states are planning to just let their mask mandates expire. And some are going as far as allowing schools to just fully reopen without any mandates at all. And this is considered really good news as long as we don't see COVID cases ramp back up. Now, all this is going on while the CDC and the White House are standing firm with their previous recommendations. And the CDC even said today in an interview, let me read you some of their responses. Some of the CDC Director Walensky's responses are, I know people are interested in taking masks off. I too am interested. That would be one marker that we have much of the pandemic behind us. And that's true. She also goes on to say, right now our CDC guidance has not changed. We continue to endorse universal masking in schools. And she ends with, we have and continue to recommend masking in areas of high and substantial transmission. That is essentially everywhere in the country in public indoor settings. So what we are seeing is governors are saying, okay, for indoor settings, and in California it's for vaccinated people as well, but in indoor settings, we can take our masks off. We don't need them because we're somewhat getting out of this pandemic. COVID cases are dropping. Okay? So, something that you do need to keep in mind. And this is something that I've mentioned over the past probably year, because we've been here before. As our COVID cases drop, there isn't really a need for additional stimulus according to multiple lawmakers. But according to many reports, once we go back to normal, the chances of Congress passing any additional relief is almost completely lost. Republicans would never go for any additional stimulus. Moderates are very worried about inflation, so they wouldn't go for that either, especially if we see inflation remain up over 5% for a few months. And again, I don't see it coming down that quickly either. There's going to be a lot of issues. So as we get more and more good news about the pandemic and COVID, this also means more bad news for those that are hoping to get any additional help from the federal government. So I just wanted to fill you in on that, because I know right now many people are still asking, well, what about student loan debt? What about us on Social Security? What about us parents that need additional funding? We were supposed to get the extension of the child tax credit payment. What about those? And there's a lot of back and forth right now, but what we do know is states are the likely source of any additional income. Any additional stimulus, it's going to come from the states, and mainly because so many states still have a surplus of cash that they're going to give back to their residents. So I do want to fill you in on some COVID news from today, though. I think I've kind of been lacking on the COVID news as we're starting to get out of this cycle that we're in. But today, the World Health Organization is saying that the Omicron subvariant could see a rise globally very soon. They also state that scientists don't know if people who have had the Omicron's BA.1 variant can also contract the BA.2 variant as well. Now, we do know that the Omicron subvariant is more transmissible, and it's most likely going to become more common very soon. But that is all that we really know regarding the subvariant. The good news, though, is that health experts here in the United States, they believe that as we see a huge decline in cases, we're going to see this once weather warms up and people start moving about outdoors. And so as this happens, we're going to see COVID cases decline. But again, as COVID cases decline, chances are any additional discussions for stimulus or pandemic relief are most likely going to be gone as well. So that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.